Hey there, YouTube. How's it going? Time for the weekly Seahawks prediction. This week, the Hawks travel to Indianapolis to take on the Colts in the third of 5:10 a.m. start times on the season. But just to go back to the Houston game for a second, just because it's such a great game in my and probably other people's minds, my blood pressure was just about through the roof during that fourth quarter, and I wasn't even watching it. I had to work during that magnificent come-from-behind victory that ended up going into overtime. Even though I knew what happened when I watched it later, it was still just as awesome. Now Wilson is 2-0 in overtime games. Take that, Kaepernick and the 4T whiners. I don't see a one overtime win in your career. And some of you might say, oh well, the Texans blew their lead. Seahawks don't deserve that much credit. But to that I say, shove it up your ass. Here's why the Hawks defense deserves a whole hell of a lot of credit. If Sherman and the rest of the defense, if they don't study that tremendous amount of time that they do, that pick six doesn't happen. Then who knows what the outcome could have been like. If they don't practice that type of situation where Schaub likes to dump it off to his tight end with pressures in his face, if the defense doesn't execute it to perfection, which they did, there is no one-shoe Sherman running for a score. Earl Thomas sold it as though it was a cover three defense perfectly. Malcolm Smith didn't crash into Chancellor, which would have caused a shift in his route where Schaub might have been able to run away without throwing it to Daniels. So just remember, Texans offense doesn't get all the credit for blowing it. Anyways, on the upcoming game against the Colts, as you all know, this is the first matchup of Wilson versus Luck, as well as Sherman versus old quarterback in college. This will be an exciting game to be had. Each team has a dynamic quarterback, young QB, as well as a good running attack. Colts definitely have a defense that is a little better than what people give them credit for, but still it's no Legion of Boom. Also, it's looking like Unger will be able to play in this game, which will give Wilson an easier time this week and less scrambling around. Although it's looking like Giacomini will be returning most likely next week against Tennessee at home after the arthroscopic knee procedure he had done earlier in the week. And of course, we can't forget about Bruce Irvin, who will be making a season debut this week after coming off a suspension, which will make our defense even more deadly than it already is, along with the return of Bennett after hurting his back last week. My first matchup for this game is going to be the two QBs, Wilson versus Luck. Who's going to have a better game? And I don't mean just statistically. Which one will be able to make more plays, both throughout the game and when it counts? With the return of Unger, I'm going to say Wilson will be able to have better stats this week than last week, since he was running all over the place nearly every play they passed on. So we at least have one of the mainstays this game. Luck having to deal with our defense is going to make him have a long day. With the way that our defense has been getting to the QB this year, thinking Luck's going to be on his back quite a few times. Maybe not like Aaron Rodgers last year, but I'm thinking close to that amount. Anyways, look for both QBs to make plays with their legs throughout the game. My second matchup again involves Luck, but this time it's Luck versus Sherman. How many times will he throw in the direction of Sherman throughout the game, and how many picks can Sherman accumulate? I'm predicting Sherman will be pulling quite a few Dikembe Mutombos this game, not in his house. Forget Revis Island. Sherman Land is the new craze in the NFL. By the way, Sherman Land, now copyrighted by me for Sherman, so nobody watching this better try and take my idea. My third and last matchup has to be the Hawks defense versus the Colts defense. Even though last week's Houston's offense went rampant over our defense. Sorry. We still have the number one defense in the league, even considering what happened last week. If you look at all the great defenses in the past, there's always been one game that the defense had trouble with against the team's offense. It's just inevitable. You can't be shut down allowing minuscule amounts of offense each week. So this week, look for the defense to get back on track. Comparison-wise, Hawks get about 144 rushing yards a game, and the Colts give up around 107. While the Colts get about 150 yards rushing, and and the Hawks give up 109 yards. The Hawks passing gets about 210 yards a game, and the Colts give up about 201 yards. While the Colts get about 224 passing yards a game, and the Hawks give up about 190 yards. So as you can see, both teams are pretty evenly matched statistics-wise on the defense and offensive sides. And I know I've been saying this for about the past 2 or 3 weeks, but I feel like Lynch will finally break that century mark rushing against the Colts. So far, his best has been 98 yards twice this season, both the 49ers and the Texans. Anyways, that's my analysis. Hopefully this week no nails get shaved down. And again, it is looking to be like another close one, but hopefully this week late game heroics will not need to be involved. I'm going to take the Hawks winning 27-17. Also look for Wilson to come out firing on all cylinders and at least get 250 yards passing. So there you go, YouTube. Another week down, another 5-0 coming up. So I'll see you next week.